Giza Platue access. They want nothing going on. It's almost like someone knows something, like you were saying before, just hiding it. They don't even want the drones in there. Come on. I
That
mean,
or
we got to sit.
they're going to be embarrassed because we have drones. They have RC cars with like
Oh, okay. Like the
VHS
RCXD.
recorders. Yeah, RC cars with VHS recorders duct taped to the top.
What
It
was trying to
works.
say?
It works just the same, but
It can't fly.
they can't fly, but they can roll that some bitch in.
Welcome to the Conspiracy Kitchen.
What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining us in the Conspiracy Kitchen, where we attempt to find the secret ingredients behind life's daily mysteries. I'm Joe, and as always, I'm accompanied by my sous chef, Joshua, aka the Cryptid Killer.
Hi everyone.
And today, the special on the menu, we're going to go into the Great Pyramids. There's been a lot of talk about them lately because of the new discoveries underneath them. And I think we just join the party and, like everyone else, and start talking about how boring they are, and maybe this will liven them up a little bit. Or
Just-
not. I don't know if
just
Josh likes them or not.
The worst shape they could have picked for that anyway. It's been all over TikTok, all over YouTube for the past week or so. Everyone is talking about, what they're finding under the pyramid, and everyone's chipping in their 2 cents as to what they think it is. A lot of people say aliens. A lot of people say, Egypt is a lot older than we think it was. But there's a lot of theories. And from what I've heard, it's based off of nothing. But people still have crazy theories, myself included.
Yeah, I mean, just not even going into this new discovery. Just looking at these pyramids to begin with, the three of them. To me, it's almost like impossible for someone what we learned the Egyptian people to be, of their skill set, of their abilities to be able to make these to begin with. And then you add what we just found out, and there's only two explanations. One, I like aliens, an alien intervention with aliens to make this happen, or two, they were way more advanced than we ever thought. Maybe even more advanced than we kind of are now with certain building techniques. Because what else could there be? You have a pyramid that's got 2.3 million blocks of either limestone or granite, weighing up to 80 tons a block. The thing was 480. The Great Pyramid, the Khufu's pyramid, 481 feet tall. Basically a perfect square at the base. You think an ancient civilization as we know it, with their technology that we've learned through schooling or whatever, could make something like this in 20 years?
No, not even a little. Not even if it's all they did morning, noon, and night. No, absolutely not.
That's what I was saying. Like, we brought it up in our alien episode too. I think that was like episode 3. If you haven't listened, you can go check that episode out. But they're just saying what? They used tons of laborers and farmers, and I guess slaves, and then they moved 80-ton blocks with ramps, levers.
So many levers.
This and stacking these stones almost 500 feet in the air. Not even going into what, again, like I said, what we just learned, but just to build these pyramids. Dude, stop. Just so many levers, right?
So many. And pick a better shape. A pyramid's... you know what? Again, go back and listen to the other episode. You'll hear my first rant. But a pyramid is the most boring shape you could pick. It's essentially the starter shape in Minecraft when you're in creative and you're just trying shit out. You make a pyramid. It sucks. Oh, let's make a big triangle. Well, fuck you. Make a
And
sphere. Be impressive. Make a sphere.
a sphere, dude. And but just talking to modern architects, using modern equipment, they said this is still a feat that is almost impossible today to be able to do this in like 20 years. And with low numbers of blocks and using more like longer time frames, even with those numbers, say it's 8 blocks an hour. But then you can always go, like, if you, depending on different how people see the block numbers or the time frame that they are, it can go all the way down to like 1 a minute. So like, let's just do it with the 8 an hour. A block weighing 80 tons, 8 of these every hour, nonstop, for 20 years. Doesn't seem possible for these type of people.
And they're not being pushed or dragged by buff individuals. These are malnourished slaves. And it's not me putting anybody down per se, but it's like they weren't well fed back then. I mean,
No, they're a slave.
Yeah, it's hot. Like, you just tired from moving fucking giant blocks all day. No, absolutely not.
And then the other theory is, well, they only did it during the Nile's flood season. They were able to move this stuff. So now you're cutting down how long you can do per block. So if I'm saying 8 an hour, well, what happens if you do it only during Nile's flood season? Now we're looking at, you got to do way more than 8 an hour if now we're narrowing it down to just during this one season a year. And the Nile's flood season was a little different every year. So this, for me, just this that we've known forever, is impossible based on what we know of them.
Yeah, it's pure bullshit.
Pure.
Debunked.
And there's 3 of them, right? So they're lined up in this, say, like, to line up perfectly with Orion's belt in the sky. And you got that one, you got a slightly smaller one, the Pyramid of Khafre, that's 448 feet, and then you have the smallest one, 213 feet. So, still, you have 3 pyramids built over, I guess, I don't know, 100 years. It's still, stop.
Stop. I assume that they started with the little one.
No, that one was built last.
Was it?
Yes.
I was going to say, I mean, if you're just trying to improve on your original design, all you did was make it a little bigger each time. I'm not impressed.
So the biggest one was made first, the Great Pyramid for Khufu, but the last one, it's smaller. It's only 213 feet. They're trying to say, like, if you go by Egyptian scholars, they're saying that, well, it showed the economics changes and they couldn't build as big of a pyramid or whatever. They didn't want to have these big grandiose tombs. They just wanted smaller, tombs for, First of all, I don't think they were tombs.
No.
But we can get into that in a little bit.
We'll get into what I think they are.
Yes.
Because I think I nailed this one. I'm fairly certain that I got this one right.
He might actually have it. But like, there was never anyone buried in any of these. Or at least we haven't found anyone buried in them yet. Like, if you can find someone buried in it, then I'll be like, all right, it was a tomb. But we haven't. For all we know, because they're saying, well, there's artifacts for the dead. It could just be a freaking extra space storage unit. For all I know.
Could be a big old shed. No,
just a shed for these people.
But you can't even get near these fucking things without people trying to sell you shit now. Have you ever watched those videos? People going up to the pyramids to like tourism, and just people running up trying to sell them dumb shit or trying to scam them, and it kills the whole vibe.
So you don't want to go?
I do, but I don't want to be...
I would love to see him, yeah.
I would love to see him. It's one of the wonders of the world, but I don't want to be talked to about buying pamphlets or tricked into buying a rug.
Just pretend like you don't speak their language. Any of their language, if they try to speak to you in English, be like,
I'll yell at them in French.
yeah. And so the Pyramid of Khafre, that one's linked to the Great Sphinx. But again, I don't even think the Great Sphinx is what people are saying it is. They keep trying to say it's, that limestone monument of a lion's body with the human head that's supposed to be Khafre's head carved in the bedrock.
Mm-hmm.
But we look at it, you can look at that Sphinx. First, it has like erosion from water on it, water lines on it. But two, I don't think that human head was the original. Like, when they first made this Sphinx, I honestly think this whole thing was just Anubis. If you're doing it for the tomb theory, that would make the most sense for me too, because who's Anubis? He's the god of the underworld. He's the gatekeeper, right? He brings you down. The body, the head doesn't match the body. The head's too small.
It's way too small.
Someone came along later and said, "You know what? I'm carving a head into this thing. I don't like the dog head." Like, maybe a later, ruler later on didn't like that monument and wanted his head put on it, just to be a dick.
I could see that. Yeah, because everyone's going to say it's weather erosion. I don't think it is.
No, not to make his head that much smaller than the... No way.
It's too specific of a fuck up. But let's get into this a little, because what we're mainly talking about is what was found recently. So here's what we know. Back in 2022, there was an academic article that was published by Zifa Biondi and Karada Malanga, fun names. They used SAR, which is synthetic aperture radar.
Yes.
To find structures, and they scanned the pyramids essentially, and they found structures inside the pyramid, which nobody knew were there. So that was a fun discovery that I didn't hear about until recently. And then now, 2025, they scanned it again. Same thing, used the SAR technique. Yeah. And they're saying that they found something under the pyramid, which is where you're hearing about these giant cylinder structures going miles into the earth. Now, the fact check on this is this part of them finding something under it was never published, or hasn't been published yet. What it was part of a kind of like a science conference kind of thing that was off limits to the public, and somebody leaked part of it. So that got leaked onto the internet, and now all the speculation is coming in as to what it could be. And some pictures, I guess, got leaked, and that's the ones that we keep seeing come across at the internet. But
yeah, we're seeing the 3D rendering of the synthetic aperture radar with electrical resistivity tomography. I believe that's what it is. So it looks like almost like a Doppler radar, and like when we're having like the big storm that's going to be coming through now, and with shades of color determine depth and can pick that structure out. And I think that's the ones that have been released. The pictures have been leaked, I should say.
Right. And what they show is essentially the cylinder structures going straight down, and they reconnect like right underneath the pyramid. Then they reconnect down at the bottom into two giant cubes that are about 80 meters wide. And these go down 648 meters, or 21
real terms,
2,126 feet.
Yes, that's real. That's real measurement.
Real math, yes. And this is huge. This could change everything about what we know about Egypt and the ancient world, because we already don't believe these people made the pyramids, and now you're saying that there's structures that go down that far into the earth, which potentially is connected to a bigger complex of buildings and, a city, perhaps.
That's what they're saying. Like a vast underground city. They're 85% sure based on their radar data. So we have the 8 vertical cylindrical shafts up to like 40 feet in diameter, 39 feet in diameter. Yeah, they go 2,100 feet into the ground, surrounded by, looks like spiral pathways. Like they could be staircases leading downward. That's a lot of stairs, though.
It's a lot of stairs.
I don't want to do it. And then, they said there's 5 multi-level structures near the base of the Khafre pyramid, connected by geometric pathways, each with sloped roofs. The sloped roof thing, too. That's something that they didn't have in these times. None of their buildings had sloped roofs.
No, that was actually something I was going to mention because there was a Italian engineer, 20th century, Mario Penturo, who he proposed that the Great Pyramid encases pre-existing Z towers, is what he called them, which is 300-foot tall granite monoliths that were from the Atlantean civilization, which he claims is the core of the pyramid. And most people would see them as, a weight relief structure, but he claims that they come from Atlantis, which I don't know how he could, pinpoint that, but which begs the question, is it possible that after the fall of Atlantis, whoever was left, if anybody, changed, regions a bit, settled there, and then eventually was built on top of? Far-fetched.
No, I mean, it's and the Atlantis thing, gets legs by the fact that so many different civilizations talked about this lost city. I mean, it's biblical, it's Roman, it's Greek, right? Egyptians. They've all mentioned this lost city. Some people think it's, submerged. But could it be submerged not in water, but in the earth?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So this could be, like you were saying, right here. This lost city could be an entrance, a part of it that we know of. For Egyptians to have made this, I mean, we're talking about going through sandstone, right? Mm-hmm. So how were they making this back in this day?
It doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I guess the weight relief structure thing does, because the pyramid being, as heavy as it is eventually, wouldn't it have sunk into the dirt or sand a little bit? But it stands tall still.
Could be, but it is sandstone. I mean, there is buried pyramids. We're still finding new pyramids all the time. Half-built pyramids, pyramids that are, just completely buried but were finished. There was more. Man, I'm not gonna be able to get into the exact names and stuff of this pyramid, but there was one found not too long ago. Partially built. The door to what they would call the tomb room or the burial room, again, we don't know, because when they got into the door, no body. See, that's the thing about all these pyramids. There's never any bodies in them.
Yeah.
In the actual burial rooms, which we call them. And when they got into these, it was, I believe it was, one person was from Egypt or something. The other person was some rich guy from Europe somewhere. They got in, they started moving the riches, the loot, whatever you want to call it. Both of them died not too long after. Like, the one went back to Europe and just got sick and just died. And then the other guy got into like an accident or something. I'd have to go. It was a story I learned or remembered from a little while ago. I don't have the exact details anymore. I should have got them, actually, because he just reminded me of them, though. But yeah, look up that story. They found this freaking pyramid half buried. They go in there. The guy just dies. They both die after digging through there. It's that's why I guess you don't want to go taking stuff out of these pyramids. The old mummy's curse, huh?
Yeah, the curse of the pyramid.
Yeah.
Haven't they watched any movies? It happens every time.
Yeah. The mummy's curse.
Yeah, the
Scorpion King.
Yeah, you get the rock coming after you. God damn it.
But for them, so you now was this built into the earth, or did we have? There's no way there's this much earth. Like this was on above ground at some point and then buried over time, right?
I thought about that, and no, absolutely not. Which it doesn't.
There's just too much.
It's too much. It doesn't make sense because it's. You mean to tell me that's going to be buried over time with sand and all of that? It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's an extensive network stretching like 2 kilometers, or what do you want? A mile and a half under the pyramid complex there.
Yeah. It goes down. What is it? 2 Empire State Buildings?
Yeah.
Like a little more than that? And you mean to tell me they just dug that up? I don't think it was man-made. It couldn't have been. Unless everything we know is wrong and the Earth is a lot older than we thought it was, and blah, 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 blah. But, I don't know.
So doesn't this? I don't know. I mean, there's critics to this too. You know that Doctor Hawass or Hawass. I don't know how you say it. He's a former Egyptian minister. He says it's fake news. He doesn't believe it. He said the techniques used lack scientific validation. He doesn't think that the ground penetrating radar that they used could go through the limestone bedrock, which the pyramids are carved from. It just makes it he says it's implausible.
I feel like that would be. It's like he's trying to hide something.
That's what I thought. Like everyone that's coming out of the woodwork now, like screaming this is not true, is like they're hiding it.
Well, yeah, because it's a major scientific discovery. Like, it's something incredible. Wouldn't you want to see it through? Like,
yeah.
The world is... I'm sorry to say it. The world, modern day, is a boring place. Nothing interesting is happening. But... I'm sorry. It's true. That's why we have so much reality TV. You got to watch other people's lives. But nothing interesting is happening. So, when something cool finally comes around like this... You're immediately going to shut it down. You're not even the least bit curious. Come on. He's hiding
fake
something.
News.
Yeah, he's the Egyptian Trump. You are fake news.
He says it needs he needs physical verification, so it needs to be dug out. But of course, you know, for them to actually go there and excavate, Egyptian authorities will not approve that. They do not want you digging at that in the Giza Plateau. And I mean, I kind of understand. Like, so some people are saying, "Go dig, go dig." We don't know the stability of these structures. You know, we don't know. Like, if you start digging, what could happen? What could collapse? So I don't see just digging. Just going out there with excavators and digging. I don't know why no one's brought it up. The fact that why don't we just start using these radars, go inside one of the pyramids and look for anomalies, hollow points, passages, to try to find a way into it from the pyramids. Even if you're afraid to go through certain passages or something, we have drones. We have drone technology at this point. Those drones do have infrared, night vision. Send the drones through it. Try to find it that way. Because, I mean, we just have to dig it up, and they're not going to let us do it. So that's just like him saying, yo, you got to dig it up or I don't believe you. It's fake. And knowing that they won't let you dig it up. I feel like these people are just hiding stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It won't be further explored to that extent in our lifetime. I don't think, anyway. Because there's so many hurdles that people would have to jump through, or jump over, rather, to be able to explore it thoroughly. But the Egyptian authorities will never let it happen. They will keep saying it's a holy site, you can't touch it, and they will let nothing happen. So, for now, anyway, we have to speculate from afar, and hopefully they come up with better technology that we can scan it from afar. But, Yeah, they'll never let anyone inside to check it out properly.
No, but so how does this the SAR, when it's sending, doing these 3D remodels and stuff, and you see these 8 cylinders going, like, what else would it be? It's just randomly doing that through the bedrock. Something's obviously there for the system to pick up cylinders and large rooms, chambers under the ground. It's not just doing it for no reason. So why can't that show, like, hey, there is something here? Why are we just going to say, nope, nothing's there?
Again, hiding something. That's exactly what it is.
Everything comes back to that, yeah.
There's no other reasoning behind it. Like, again, it's something so scientifically incredible that it could possibly change the world as we know it, and they're not willing to even, give it a second thought. They're like, no, it's not there. You're wrong.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't the first time you can go way back 1993. We found like a 125-foot subway-esque passage between the second pyramid and the Sphinx, which has been documented. So it's not like this isn't the first time we've kind of detected weird things going on here. We've also detected weird rooms that we haven't been able to get to inside the pyramids themselves. So, I mean, it's almost like certain people to me would be like, we can't say that they're more advanced or had a better technique of doing something than us, because then it's like they were better than us. We can't let that happen. So we just lie about it. You know what I mean? Like, we're modern humans. We're better than them.
It's a good point, but
no, I don't know, dude.
I don't know. They need to get their head out of their ass and check the fucking pyramid.
Yeah, I think we got to get down there. Maybe go down there. Why don't we start with this, like the subway like passage that we found? Start there. Send a drone in if you're afraid to go in, or even like that. In 2024, they found that L-shaped structure. That was kind of shallow.
Mm-hmm.
It's been mapped. Why don't we start there? Could be an entry into the rest of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Just kind of clearing. It's not that deep. We don't need large excavations to do this.
No, start small. You don't need to go all in. For God's sake, someone could get injured. Go a little slow.
Yeah, I mean, we have like all those air shafts, right? I mean, we can get into them in a little bit, but there's all those air shafts in the Great Pyramid that we don't know where they go. Again, we have fucking drones now. Robots. Why don't we just fucking send them in?
They did that in a movie, which I won't give a full review because I gave up after about 20 minutes. But they were they were at the pyramid and they found an opening that wasn't supposed to be there, and they sent the little robot in, and it kind of lost power, and they were forbidden from going in themselves, so they waited till nighttime and snuck in, and then I don't know, they got lost and attacked by pyramid monsters. I don't know, roll credits, but yeah, that's why. Pyramid monsters. No robots.
Yeah, but it's just a drone. You're just sending the drone in.
We have so many drones. What's one? Just send one.
Yeah, just start sending them in. And again, these the Egyptian authorities, they tightly control this Giza Plateau access. They want nothing going on. It's almost like someone knows something, like you were saying before, just hiding it. They don't even want the drones in there. Come on.
They're going to be embarrassed because we have drones. They have RC cars with VHS recorders. Yeah. RC cars with VHS recorders duct taped to the top. It works. It works just the same, but
it can't fly.
It can't fly, but they can roll that sumbitch in.
But go back to, like I said, the shallow anomaly, like the one we found in 2024, that L-shaped room or hollow spot. Why don't we start there? It's not deep. Kind of push some stuff away, get into there, and then go from there. See if there's any connections to that to get farther in. I know a lot of people fucking. I mean, I'd be afraid to go in there and get crushed to death if something collapsed, but.
Yeah, and it can't be like a funding issue because realistically, all you
Yeah.
need is a plane ticket and a shovel, and a can-do attitude, and you could get it done. But you know,
And I know. I just if there's no like if there is something like this, I think anyone, if you're willing to go in there, and I think a lot of people would be willing to fund you.
there's countless people that would be willing to. People want answers to these things. If they know they're most likely never going to get the answer to something through natural means, they're willing to fund it to try and get it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, and going back through here, like we've already been into like there's a bunch of known passages like that 1993 passage. We can access that without major digging. I mean, it's been shown, and there's also that the robbers tunnel in the 9th century that breach that that revealed there was more passages through there. So just fucking go in there.
Mm-hmm.
Start moving. Let's start looking at this stuff because I want to know.
I want to know too. Kind of sick of waiting.
No, why should the Egyptian authorities be the only ones to know?
This kind of stuff has been talked about though, like for hundreds of years, talking about shit under the pyramids. I mean,
Yes.
back in what is it? Edgar Casey in the 30s. People knew him as the Sleeping Prophet. He predicted that a hall of records would be discovered beneath the Sphinx. So that's something underneath. And then there's an ancient Greek historian, Herodotus. I know I butchered that name, but he talked about an underground chamber beneath the pyramid. Like, this is all shit that's you can research it. It's there. But
Exactly.
people are saying no, there's no way that there's anything underground. The city can't be underground. What about the city in Turkey? That's underground. Darren Kuyu. That's underground.
What about all of our what do they call them? All of our underground military bases and tunnels that we have in the United States. Tons of them.
So many.
So I mean, stuff can be built underground. I don't know why we're so quick to kind of say no to this. It doesn't make any sense to me. No. The vaults in Fallout
They're pretty sophisticated, I'm not going to lie.
could be the same.
It could,
No?
yeah, it could just be a vault underneath the pyramid.
Yeah. We don't know. It could be, who knows what they're, could have been building for protecting from anything. I mean, there's this could be, the pyramids are built, pre-flood, if you go by biblical times. Maybe they were protecting themselves from stuff like this. Or even siege from other civilizations. If something came down, it might not have been just a burial tomb, and that's why all that stuff's in there. It could be, this could be a last stand defensive structure or structures sitting there in this city, so that if like a Roman Empire or whatever came down and finally tried to siege Egypt and to surround them and try to starve them out or try to attack, you could fall back on these pyramids as defensive structures, and you have all that stuff inside that they found. There's a vast city and stuff under the ground to help you in a time of war like this. Why is it always, everything else just gets shot down? It's just always goes back to, it's just a giant tomb.
It doesn't have to be a fucking tomb. It's been said a lot a lot of ancient civilizations built pyramids over entrances to caves and, ceremonial structures. It didn't have to be a tomb. They just built it over it.
But there's a pyramid, whether it be the step pyramids or these pyramids or any of the pyramids that we find in China, because there's pyramids there in China. it always goes back to the tomb. Why do the scholars so quick to say it's a tomb?
Because they're out of ideas.
It's easy.
It's
It's the
easy.
easiest thing to go with.
Yeah.
And then you just say, oh, yeah, it's a tomb.
Well, realistically, back then people died everywhere. So if one person died in there, it automatically becomes a tomb.
I mean, it's technically a tomb, I guess, if someone dies in it building it.
Yeah, it works out. But there's a lot of. It gets into some religious stuff. You get ancient Egyptian religion. I mean, there's 3 realms of the afterlife. There's, and I'm referring to the possible city underneath the pyramid. There's Amenti, the realm of the dead, ruled by Osiris. There's Rostau, surface monument at Giza, and Duat, the celestial counterpart in the night sky. These represent as above, so below. Now, the reason I bring that up, they describe it because there's this thing called the Emerald Tablet, which is attributed to Thoth, the ancient god of wisdom. It describes the construction of Amenti. The tablets mention deep wells meant to bring light and life to Amenti. Wells deep underground connected to the afterlife. Which these things under the pyramid look like wells. That's what a lot of people are saying that they could be, is ancient wells. But that's the religious standpoint, so to speak. But
Yeah, it could have been their trip down to the underworld.
Yeah.
Like to help them go down there.
Yeah, I mean, they built a whole city around their religion. It's not so hard to think that they built a stairway to the underworld.
Yeah. Yeah. Could absolutely be that too.
It's not very far fetched. I mean, these assholes built giant pyramids for no reason. So,
Yeah. But no, they're not there.
no, not at all.
Now, doesn't this this discovery showing like it could be a vast city underground, does this kind of give a head nod and maybe a little something going for the Hollow Earth people?
Yeah, definitely. I had thoughts on that too.
Because we have these guys who think, the Earth's not hollow, just like a big hole, but that there's vast cities under the ground where civilizations live, more advanced civilizations, lizard people, you could say, or even like where the UFOs and aliens themselves come from. They don't come from space. They come from within the Earth. And something like this kind of gives them like credibility in a way that, hey, maybe they're onto something, these people that believe this stuff.
Yeah, if it's a hollow Earth, maybe these pyramids, which they're not just in Egypt, they're all over the world.
They're all over the world.
Maybe each pyramid is its own doorway to the hollow Earth.
Exactly. There could be the ones in China. Maybe we need to do more of this research and use these techniques with, this radar and these Dopplers around all these pyramids and see what we can find. Now, didn't they just find some pyramid in Antarctica? Or a pyramid-like structure in Antarctica?
Yes.
That they're kind of not really talking about?
Antarctica's a weird one. We've mentioned it in past episodes, but they're very hush-hush when it comes to that shit, and I don't know why.
Yeah, you're not even allowed to fly, like, over down there.
No, every country has stake in Antarctica, and you're not allowed to fly there.
You can't even, like, research it on your own, right? You have to be part of a team, and then there's only certain places you can actually go.
There's certain places you could go, and it's nowhere near where you want to be.
Yeah. So what are they hiding down there?
That's a good question. I mean, if you watch Alien versus Predator, you know exactly what's down there. It's another pyramid with aliens and predators. But no, there's countless stories of people who claim that they were in the military and they were stationed there and shit that they've seen. None of which can be, corroborated, but interesting nonetheless. A lot of them mention giant spiders.
Oh no.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Yeah, that stops me in my track. I'm not going down there now.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, so can't all these pyramids be just the entrances to Hollow, done by ancient civilizations, and then they said, "Fuck this, we're going to the Hollow Earth, no, we're not going on top because we got these humans that are just scumbags."
That guy just shit in his hand and threw it at his neighbor. Let's go downstairs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a big possibility. Kind of, like I said, it gives them credibility. It gives them something. This is something going on, and who knows how deep it goes. I mean, we should start checking these other pyramids out. I mean, you can think we're crazy all you want, but like, why not just look into it? If there's nothing there, there's nothing there. If there is something there, then we'll just have to keep researching more.
Look, I'm always gonna say that pyramids are boring shapes. I will never change my opinion on that.
Exactly why they would use them for the entrances to Hollow Earth. You wouldn't want to go there. It's a pyramid. You're going to sit there and see the pyramid shape. You say it's boring. You just walk away. You're not going to think, oh shit, this is the entrance to Hollow Earth where the reptilians live. You're just going to leave.
Yeah, you're going to fuck off and go to a water park instead or something. But no, pyramids are boring shapes, but if something cool is underneath it, maybe I'll give it a second glance. That's all I'm going to say.
Now, besides them being maybe entrances, couldn't they? I mean, there's some evidence or whatever you want to call it. I mean, we have some pretty big names that have kind of said that these pyramids could be power sources.
I've heard these theories, and my only question is, what is it powering?
Yeah, so you just think, oh no, there's nothing here. There's nothing to power. Well, we don't know what they had back then. I mean, stuff deteriorates over time, or it could have been moved, hidden. Who knows? Who knows what it had been? But I mean, we have people like Nikola Tesla who believe they were energy transmitters. Right?
Yeah.
So he thinks, that it uses the, acoustic devices, like using Earth's vibration, to then create electromagnetic energy. So when you're using things like, because I got yelled at on X, and yeah, by the way, if we're gonna bring up X, you can, if you don't follow, you're listening here and you don't follow us on X, at Conspira Kitchen on X, you can follow us there, and Instagram, we have Conspiracy Kitchen on Instagram. You can give us a follow there. We're trying to be more, I guess, prevalent on both those platforms just to get more word out more. Sometimes we're on there a lot. Sometimes, we go a couple of days, but we're trying. But I got yelled at for saying, they might not be tombs. They use granite, a lot of granite in these pyramids. And I was like, it could be shown for a power source. I was like, oh, you're a fucking moron. Yeah, granite's an insulator. Okay, it's fine. Itself is an insulator, yes. But there's quartz in granite, and quartz can be compacted or compressed, and it releases electromagnetic energy. So, could be why they used it in there. I'm just saying, could be. Now, what do you don't believe they had anything that they could use the power for?
I think about it, and it reminds me of that cartoon, Atlantis: The Last Empire, because they have their own power source, which powered like flying machines and big objects. Like they could fly and build an entire city. Like it's kind of like that's what that's reminding me of. But I don't know. Aside from that, I don't know what they would power.
Could have been anything. We don't know.
Could have been
We don't
anything.
know. You think it could be at the heart of their? They could have. Could be something we have no idea. We just don't know because the technology's gone. They were advanced. They had some certain things, and now we don't know what it could be anymore because we just don't need that. We just don't have that technology anymore.
No. But they were advanced. If the math is right, they were advanced because they're doing the math on these structures that they're finding, and they found numeric patterns and alignments that match ancient Egyptian mathematical concepts. So the depth of the chamber is 648 meters, which is exactly double to 324, which is very significant in ancient Egyptian math. And the Temple of the Valley has numeric patterns forming 371. When you apply a sigma function, you get 432, a number that shows up in ancient cosmology across multiple civilizations. If this is true, the ancient Egyptians are far more advanced than we thought that they were. But as you could tell, I read that off of paper because memorizing math is not my strong suit.
You can read it anywhere.
Oh.
You got your notes, you can read them.
I got my notes. But yeah, the math is there. They were far more advanced than we thought. But I don't think it was just them alone. And I know I'm an asshole for always mentioning aliens, but I think it was aliens.
I mean, yeah. So aliens need power, right?
Yeah. It could have been. The pyramids could have been. I don't know. It could have been powering a beacon, lighting its way to communicate with other aliens. I don't know. Something. Or it could just been a boring shape that they used to cover up their shit. I don't know.
A storage unit.
Big shed.
I just go back to them trying to say it's a tomb, but then you go into in the king's chamber, which I guess they believe would be where he would be finally buried, right? Or put to rest, or put in his sarcophagus. There's no tomb inscriptions on anything in the chamber. There's nothing that says this is a tomb for this person. There's nothing about it.
Yeah, no.
None. So I don't like that it's a tomb. I would rather say it was a storage unit than a tomb. But, I mean, from what I see here, they could have used these pyramids for food preservation, using those same thing, those freaking electromagnetic waves. There was a where did I see it? There was what do you want to call it? Experiment done with smaller pyramids, and they would take these pyramid models and preserve food because it would, like, these animal carcasses wouldn't decay in these things. So maybe they could have been some kind of ancient refrigerator, like, kind of thing, not really that is cold, but using other techniques to preserve food.
I could see that. It's just a big ice box.
But without the cold.
Without the cold, because you're in the fucking desert.
Yeah. So there's that. But I don't know. It could be the pyramid, the power plants. I mean, there's a lot of people that talk about these things. I mean, I didn't really do a lot of research on that side. I just see that they think they could have been maybe batteries, giant batteries, which would be an aquifer. So they say the gold cap could be like a Tesla coil. And these shafts, they use the shafts, which boil off. Yeah, they boil off hydrogen using chemical reactions in the chambers. And then when they're boiling off the hydrogen, they use the air shafts to boil off and release the hydrogen for energy. But, I mean, there's that. I kind of like my anti-siege theory for what those pyramids are with the big cities underneath. I mean, some people... I don't really hear anyone else coming up with an idea like that. So, could have been just like a giant vault, like in Fallout.
Well, I told you what my theory was.
Yeah, you have a theory. It's also I haven't heard anyone mention this theory before either.
Which leads me to believe that I'm correct. These shafts, it's clear that they're ancient toilets. That these pyramids are just ancient outhouses designed for the gods and royalty, which I think this is where the term holy shit comes from. I think I solved it.
So you're saying that only royalty could use these large bathrooms.
Yes. Large
And
outhouses built by slaves.
and they would just do their business in it and then they'd leave.
Correct. And they got bored, so they drew on the walls as they were dropping a deuce, which is where hieroglyphics come from.
Wow. I don't know why.
See, it all works. I pieced it together.
So just giant cylinders into the ground. You're saying if we send a drone down there, we will find human fecal.
Absolutely.
You think the Egyptians, mainstream hardcore Egyptian archaeologists and historians would like that theory?
I think they're going to be a little upset. Might be a little offended by it, but I'd like to say there's been stranger things that have happened, but probably not compared to that. No, I think it's a giant ancient outhouse. Yeah. That's, you know what, folks, you heard it here first. That's what the ancient pyramids are. Giant outhouses.
So, if we do find human defecation in these shafts, you were right all along.
I was right all along. I want my name in the history books. The man who found the shite.
Conspiracy Kitchen's own Joshua.
Yeah. Found
the cryptid killer.
Found the shit of the ancients.
I like more leaning towards maybe some kind of ancient anti-siege complex, because they waged war a lot. No one really brings that up on that side, but they did attack a lot of people. They did fight a lot of people. There was a lot of war going on back then, and it could have been some kind of defensive mechanism. And having this compound and chambers under the ground could preserve their civilization if something catastrophic happened. And, going back to the same time or around the same time, when you look at ancient Sanskrit, and I believe we brought this up also in our aliens episode called Tall Aliens and Levers, I think that's how it was called. We talked about in the India, Pakistan region, written in Sanskrit, ancient nukes. So could these compounds could have been something to protect civilization from this type of attack? And the people saying that the Sanskrit was wrong, it's just a poem. To me, it's way too specific to just be a poem about nonsense. When they're talking about giant light in the sky, their fingernails falling off, just wiping out entire civilizations with one flash, their hair falling out. So when we look at these type of things and around the same time, I don't know, maybe the Egyptians did have some kind of defense for this if it were to happen. And I guess it never did happen on their territory, but maybe it was just there just in case.
Or giant toilet.
Or it was a giant toilet. And perhaps it was. I don't know. I don't know. I could be completely off base with my theory. Tesla said it was a fucking power plant. So, I mean, is mine really that much more far-fetched? I don't think so. I think mine's way more plausible for most historians to think, oh yeah, it could be just a defensive complex and a giant power plant, because they don't like that idea. So, I don't know. And I like to think that, down there you have all that stuff, right? Don't they keep like their jewels, jewelry, all kinds of collectible, whatever they collected. They're even their cats. Didn't they keep their cats down there?
Yeah, they're big on
I would like to
cats.
think that in that king's chamber, you walk in, you're seeing gold, you're seeing, precious metals, diamonds, and then you look over and you look at that one table right next to where the sarcophagus was supposed to be, and I just see a nice case of Ovaltine sitting on my fucking right. I mean, if I'm gonna be in my pyramid and I'm gonna be buried with stuff, I know for a fact that there's gonna be a case of Ovaltine buried in there with me.
I like to think so. I like to think in my pyramid I would be propped up in a chair with Ovaltine in one hand and a remote in the other, watching my VHS box set of WrestleMania.
Because Ovaltine will give you those essential vitamins and minerals to help you cross over to the other side, and you can't do it without it. It's a difficult journey, and when your body is now parched and lacking certain vitamins, you need the up kick. You need that extra, kick to get you through the day, get you through to the other side, get you across the Nile sticks, and Ovaltine will give it to you.
And it'll do it with a delicious chocolatey flavor.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
So I guess the Steve thing is never gonna.
Fuck's
Bring it up.
I haven't even talked to him. It's been days.
I haven't talked to him either. So, if you guys are really holding out for that episode, sorry. We'll keep giving you other content until maybe it finally happens. We'll just sneak it in there. You guys will be surprised.
Yeah, if you guys are holding out for it, so are we.
Yeah. Let us know either in the comments on this episode on Spotify or on X or Instagram when we post our pictures there, what your theory is, or if you like if you like my theory about being an ancient compound as a survival defense mechanism, or if you like it being a giant outhouse, porta-john for the gods and of royalty. So they had some nice place to go in privacy.
Yeah, and the hieroglyphics, were they ancient texts or ancient toilet graffiti? Tell us your thoughts.
Do we know where we're going next on our next episode?
No. I have a couple ideas that I'll discuss with you, but yeah, I don't know. I like to leave it up in the air. I like the surprise.
The suspense. When they see that first teaser post on X.
Yeah.
You don't want them to already know when, like the last episode, like, oh, they're doing the pyramids next. We already know. We're waiting for the pyramid episode. You want them to be all in suspense, waiting, sitting there, staring at their phone, waiting for the update.
Yeah, because for all they know, it could be the Steve episode.
It could be. It could absolutely be the Steve episode coming up. Don't get your hopes up.
I wouldn't.
And I guess, well, shout out to whoever in India started listening to us. We saw India join the list of countries that listen, right?
Welcome.
So we got welcome from India. Welcome from India. We got Kenya. Kenya was on the list now. So yeah, good to have you guys listening.
I love how wide variety of listeners we have. It's not just local. It's
not just United States. We have a couple, we have some loyal listeners from the UK too, the United States. Now we have Kenya, India. And I don't think Canada's on the list, but we got European countries, France and stuff, but no Canada.
No Canada.
And I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to listen after I bashed them for not being able to build ships in the last episode.
That's more of a them problem than anything. Build a better boat. I don't know.
I mean, look at that disgrace of a ship. Because it was built in Canada.
Well, it only crashed how many times?
I just want to point out, the guys, whoever's listening from these other countries, you guys are better to us than our own friends at listening. They find every excuse in the book not to listen.
Yeah, you know what? I'll talk shit on our own friends for a minute. We have a group chat with our friends, and we always tell them, hey guys, the new episode's out. Check it out. And they always say the same thing. Oh, yeah, we will. And then, hey, did you guys listen? Nah, I'm too busy. What the fuck?
Which is fine. We get the streams elsewhere. We don't need their streams.
No, I don't want their streams anymore.
Well, if they're listening, maybe they'll stop listening again. I don't know. But remember, grab a cold glass of Ovaltine, and we'll see you guys next time.
Have a good one.